Hi, I bought this diary months ago, one day when I was passing by a little bookstore downtown. I remember picking it up and feeling the smooth leather cover, imagining myself writing all these stories of excitement and change. But if I'm being honest, my life felt too routine to even fill one page. So I sat it there untouched on my dresser, a reminder that maybe I was waiting for something or someone to make things worth writing about. Then I met him, the man of my dreams. Suddenly, I found myself reaching for the diary, eager to put down everything about him, to capture every moment, every glance, each word he said to me. He's like a spark, making everything brighter, more vivid. For the first time, I feel like there's a story worth telling, and I want to tell every bit of it. So here we go. Dear Diary, I met a guy today. His name is David. We've never spoken before, but I've seen him around a few times. He's hard to miss. Tall, dark hair, kind brown eyes. The kind of man who makes you forget your words when he's in the room. We didn't talk much at first, just a few polite words here and there. But there was something in the way he looked at me. Something soft and careful. Like he knew me. The real me beneath the surface. A brief encounter though, as there were other people in the room with us and so many papers to sign. But it stayed with me. There's just something there. I can feel it. I'm not sure when, but I know I'm going to see him again soon. Dear Diary, I ran into David again today, purely by chance. I promise I'm not a stalker. Well, maybe I am. It was strange, almost like fate was pushing us together. He was on the phone looking stressed, and when he saw me, his face softened, like he was relieved to see a familiar face. We ended up talking longer this time, longer than we did the first time we met. He asked how I was doing, if I was okay. Such a small thing. But the way he said it, the way he asked, "How are you, Debbie?" Like he genuinely cared about me, made my heart skip repeatedly. We talked about the city, about little things, but I could sense something deeper. He asked me if I've been feeling comfortable, if I needed anything. He's so attentive, and I wonder if he realizes just how much I appreciate it. Dear Diary, I think David is starting to open up to me. We talked for hours today. He's sweet, thoughtful, and there's a vulnerability in him I hadn't noticed before. He barely mentioned the woman who was with him the first time I met him. His wife, Angela. And when he didn't mention her, it was casual, so distant, it could fill up the room. I think something is missing between them. I know, I shouldn't think that way, but I can't help it. I've been around couples before, but they don't act like this. They don't act like he and his wife do. So I'm allowed to think this way. Dear Diary, it happened again. That look. We were at a restaurant waiting for our order after a long day of shopping, and he sat across from me, just watching me carefully, like he was trying to figure me out. We talked about life, about our plans for the future, and then he asked about my health again, how I'd been feeling lately. There was something more in his tone, something almost protective. I think he's worried about me. Maybe he sees me struggling with all of this. But it's not the physical things. It's him, It's the way he makes me feel. I've started to dream about him, to imagine what life would look like if we were together. Dear Diary, I've started to notice the changes in my body, the little signs of life inside of me. The nausea has been hitting hard lately, especially in the mornings. And there's this constant tiredness that I can't seem to shake. But David, he's always so attentive, so concerned. The way he looks at me, even as my body is changing, is something I can't explain. The other day, when I had to rush to the bathroom during one of his visits, where he usually would bring me groceries because the vomiting kicked in, he didn't even flinch. He just waited calmly. And when I came back from the bathroom, he offered me water and asked if I needed anything. He cares. He really cares. More than his words say. He insisted on coming with me to see the doctor today. When the doctor went over the usual questions and checked on the baby, I could feel David's eyes on me the whole time. There was something in his gaze. It wasn't just concern. It was connection. Afterward, as we left, he walked beside me, his hand hovering near my back, like he was ready to support me at any moment. Dear Diary, David signed me up for prenatal yoga classes today. He said it's to help with the stress, but I know it's more than that. It's like he's finding ways to take care of me without being too obvious. And when he dropped me off afterward, he gave me this look like he wanted to say something. He's stuck in his marriage, I get it. But I know he's struggling. We're both struggling. I can't stop thinking about what it would be like if we were together. If things were just a little different. We'd be perfect together. I just know it. I don't think Angela deserves him. In fact, I'd bet anything she treats him like trash. She's always so distant, so detached when I've seen them together. How could someone be so cold to a man like David? I mean, David? I can tell she doesn't see him the way I do. She's probably too wrapped up in her own world and in herself to even notice how much he does for her. The worst part is that he never complains. He just endures it, like he's used to being treated like that. When Angela took him away for 2 weeks, I thought I'd lose my mind. It was like she dragged him off to remind me that he still belongs to her, even though I know in my heart he doesn't. But the thing is, every time I sent him a message, he responded right away, like he was waiting to hear from me. Every single time. It didn't matter if it was late at night or in the middle of the day, he was always there. He always made time for me, always showed that he cared. I think those 2 weeks apart were harder on him than they were on me. It's like he needs me as much as I need him, even if he wouldn't admit it yet. Dear Diary, David is back from his trip and the world feels right again. He came to my place today just to check in, he said. But I could tell he missed me. I know I did. He came bearing gifts as always. Shoes, clothes, bags, everything I need that I didn't even have to say. He knows how to treat a woman just right. I made us some tea and we sat on the couch talking. It felt so natural, like we'd done it 100 times before. At one point, I could have sworn he was about to reach for my hand, but he stopped himself. I think he's holding himself back, trying to be the good guy. But I can see it in his eyes. He wants something more. I know he does. We ended up talking about the future, about what it would be like to raise a family. His eyes lit up when I mentioned kids. I could tell it's something he's always wanted. But when he talked about his wife, there was no warmth in his voice. It's almost like he's resigned himself to this life he's living, even if it's not what he truly wants. I could be what he wants. I could be what he needs. We could be happy together. Dear Diary, there was a bit of a scare a few days ago, and the doctors decided to put me on bed rest. I was terrified, but David, he never left my side. Never have I seen a man so vulnerable. Diary, I think he's my soulmate. He touched my belly and our baby kicked. I feel our bond growing just as fast as my bump is. The doctors say things are looking up now, that the baby is fine, but I barely heard them. All I could focus on was the way David was looking at me. His eyes filled with such warmth and care. There was an unspoken connection between us in that moment. Something real, something deep. After the appointment, he wouldn't let me go home alone. He insisted on taking me himself, making sure that I was comfortable, that I had everything I needed. It's as though he's trying to take care of me in every way possible. And I know what's happening. I can feel it. He's falling for me, just like I have fallen for him. Dear Diary, I've started thinking about baby names lately. Even the thought gives me butterflies. It's strange, but I can't help imagining what names David would like. What would suit our baby? I've been tossing around ideas in my head, names that would match his strong features, his warm eyes, his soft skin, his beautiful brown eyes. Something classic, but not too old-fashioned. It feels right to think about it now, like it's the next step toward what we're building together. Dear Diary, the baby is almost here. David has been even more present these last few weeks, checking on me constantly, asking how I'm feeling. I think he's worried. I know he's excited as well. He brought over some baby clothes today, Diary. He said he had help picking them out, but I could tell he had chosen them himself. The way he held up the tiny onesie, smiling, talking about the baby, it felt like a glimpse into the future where it's just the three of us. He doesn't talk about his wife much anymore. And when he does, it's like she's an afterthought. I think he's starting to finally see it. Dear Diary, my water just broke. David was the first person I called and he was here within minutes. His wife, Madam Angela, is out of town. Again, of course. It's just the two of us now, and I can see the worry in his eyes. The way he's holding my hand so tightly. I know he's scared, but I also know that this is the moment everything will change. I can feel it. After the baby is born, he'll realize that this is what he's been waiting for all along. He's been trying to make his marriage work, but he knows deep down that his future is with me. Dear Diary, the baby is here. It's a girl, and she is perfect. She has his eyes just like I knew she would. David hasn't left my side since she was born. He's holding her now, cradling her in his arms. And I can see the love in his eyes. Dear Diary, David's wife showed up hours after I had the baby. She's back. all smiles, acting like everything is normal. I can't believe she's here. I thought this was my moment, but now it feels like everything is slipping away. She took the baby from David's arms, cooing and smiling, and he just stood there, watching them, smiling at them. I tried to say something, but he didn't even look my way. I tried to get his attention, but he barely acknowledged me. I don't understand. What's happening? And then David turned to me with a smile. Only this time, the smile was different. He looked grateful, fulfilled. "Thank you," he said softly, "for everything." My heart stopped. His wife nodded, smiling as if she'd been given a gift. "You've given us the greatest blessing," she said, her eyes glistening with tears of joy. I don't understand. I thought the baby was ours, that this was our future. But then it hits me. The truth hits me. That was when I realized that Angela was always there. Every single time David visited me, she was with him. How did I miss that? Even during the yoga sessions David signed me up for, she was right beside me, supporting me, talking to me, encouraging me. The gifts I thought were from him, they were from both of them. I can see it now. Her smile. I remember her smile. Her soft hands holding my hands at every doctor's appointment. She was always there. It was all in my head. I'm not part of the future. I was never meant to be. I was just a surrogate. The end.